Day night at the Gabba, Ashes on the line, pink ball test. Jez, it doesn't get much better than this.
No. Got a sigh of relief. We won the first one. Crazy first innings, but we are up 1-0. Beating England again. There's nothing better. And now, time for the pink ball in Brisbane.
Yeah, mate. So much pressure on the English side to bounce back in the second test. But a betting preview here. Going to give some top tips, some good picks, and try and back it up with some stats and some information. So tail us. As always, you can go over to bets.com.au. You're going to find the full game preview. Our mate Adam writing that, and then this betting preview in all its glory. Also, all the Australian best odds for Australian bookmakers, some promo codes and stuff in there as well. Check it out. But Jez, the top tips for this Ashes second test in Brisbane, what do we got?
Mate, we're riding form pretty much in this one, and it's not just the form of players that are like in form at the moment, but also their day-night form. And you know what? In Australian eyes, they all just sync together because we've got our boy Mitch Starc, who took 10 wickets. We've got Marnus Labuschagne. Yes, he wasn't the game winner for Australia, but still a 50, a half century not out. But he's also got some massive day-night stats, which we'll get into a little bit later. So tips are Mitch Starc over 5.5 in the whole match, 5.5 wickets. Old Marnie over 65.5 total match runs. And then, you know what? We're loving Boot the Root. Look, if you're not taking unders on Joe Root, you are not a serious Australian Ashes better. I'll tell you that much. And then we're going into the opening partnership. So where they're all starting there's still a little bit unknown of who the Australian opener will be, but likely Travis Head, and going for over 24.5 runs in that opening partnership. So simple as that.
Too bloody easy, mate. All right. Allow me to set the scene. Fortress Gabba. Okay. Australia have won their opener. They love playing England at the Gabba. What can we expect from this one, you think? Or what do you got for me here at the Gabba?
Well, it's at the Gabba. It's pretty simple. Australia have a very strong record against England, unbeaten in their last 9 tests versus England at the Gabba with 7 wins and 2 draws. And we haven't lost there to England since 1986, the year I was born. So I've never seen it. I've never seen us lose at the Gabba
to England. Because it hasn't been an automatic victory for Australia at the Gabbatoir. 2 wins from their last 5 tests. But when it's Ashes and it's under lights, the Aussies can flick the switch, and Englanders don't stand a chance.
So Australia have lost just one pink ball day-night test in Australia on their home soil. So I think that's pretty safe for the Aussies here. And going up against England, who we already have the mental power over and such a strong record, it's looking good. That's why Aussies are so short.
And the day-night kind of concept as well brings some added pressure to England. We've seen that the Aussie quicks were already good in Perth and they cleaned up England. Now you come into this day-night test situation. England have only 2 wins from their 8 day-night test clashes, and not a fantastic result if you're an English fan or an English cricketer coming into this concept in Brisbane. Bazball, does that work under lights? There's so many different factors here that aren't in England's favour, Jez.
Yeah, absolutely not. Bazball under lights is going to be tough. I think when you look at sort of some innings and results, like the first innings, you can maybe score some quick runs, but otherwise it's pretty hard slogs because there's so much movement in the ball with the pace attack from both teams. So Bazball, I'm not too sure it's going to hold up in a day-nighter at the Gabba.
All right, let's get into the picks. Mitch Starc, we spoke about, day-night test, just a cheat code, this guy. He's a cheat code in
Yeah,
no matter
yeah,
what game he plays. You see it last one. The only
yeah,
bowler with 50-plus wickets in pink ball tests in Australia, 66 wickets at around 18.7 rate. So Australia's fast bowlers are going to be very difficult to bat against in this one. And the ball itself is just going to be doing so much more in this test than what we've seen in Perth and what we'll probably see in the tests ahead of us as well.
yeah. And obviously, Mitch Starc bowling against England is an absolute dream. Taking 10 wickets in that first test and then now going up in what you would say are better conditions for the fast bowlers in the day-nighter. I think this 5.5 line is extremely low considering what happened last time, and then it being better conditions for fast bowlers at the Gabba with the pink ball. So this one looks pretty safe to me, Ryan, to be honest.
Do you think the number 5.5 is almost too low considering what happened in
Yeah.
the first test?
Yeah, absolutely. And thinking that you've got two, like he'll get, what did he hit? Like 10, and you've got two innings. The 5.5 is extremely low, considering he's going to have two cracks at it. And the longer it goes, the harder it gets for the batsman, the longer the amount of days that go by. So, yeah, the 5.5 is extremely low.
So
Bookies
if
should be worried.
if Mitch Starc is the story with the ball, the story with the bat's got to be Big Marn
Yeah,
Labuschagne, home ground, right? He's a
yeah,
Queenslander.
yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Um,
Home ground, really strong under the pink ball. He actually has the most hundreds of anybody in with the pink ball, the day-night tests with 400s. He's averaging over 50. He averages 51 from 7 tests in Brisbane. And then, yeah, leading the run scoring in pink ball tests with just under 900 total runs. So, yeah,
and
he's an absolute danger, and he is the informed batter. Obviously, besides Travis Head, he
yeah,
was the informed batter coming into this series.
that's
So
it. He walked back into the 11, and people were, I mean, right at the time of the selection, you could definitely argue for it because he was in such great form. But a few months out, or even at this time last year, you wouldn't think that Marnus is a walk into that 11, but comes
yeah,
in an unbeaten 50 in the run chase to secure the victory. And,
yeah,
it's exactly the type of controlled knock you want to see from a guy that's going to come in and stabilize the batting
yeah,
with the opener kind of bit up in the air about where everyone's going to land in those first couple of spots. So
yeah.
he's good for long strays. He's a good player, and I think he's going to feel right at home at the Gabba in Brisbane in the second test.
Yeah, 100%. He'll stick around. He's going to like exactly like what you said. I love that you said he's going to be the guy that steadies everything there for them. So I think you can expect, especially if we're wrong and that first wicket goes down early, expect Marnus to just sit in, knowing the ground, being comfortable playing at the Gabba, and just make sure that the runs tick over and slow down the bowling attack of England if they get that early wicket.
And so, key man for Australia, the key man for England, got to be Joe Root. We had a great call. You coined it last time around.
Mhm.
Root
Yeah,
gets the boot, and he got the
yeah,
boot. He was nowhere to be seen in
absolutely.
the first test. We're
No,
backing it to go happen again.
yeah, we can throw a whole bunch of statistics at you, but for me, really, Joe Root out of form, so much pressure on him, probably copping the most flack out of anybody in the English lineup at the moment. And look, Root is still the glue for the English team, and he's going to have to score. But for me, that just puts too much pressure on him at the moment in these conditions. So yeah, Australia unbeaten in 16 home Ashes Test versus England, and Root has been absolutely struggling. So I think, yeah, there's just too much weighing on the shoulders of Joe Root for him to put in a game winning or a test winning performance for me. So I think
And
it's
if
just all too much.
the top couple don't do their job and really
Mm.
take out that new ball and tire out the quicks, then he's going to be up there against Starc, who's still quite fresh, and you don't know what could happen there on this pitch and under lights. And there's so many things that can happen
Yeah.
with if that
Well, we
top
know
order
what's going to happen.
of the England batting collapses and Root's going to have to try there and the pressure on his shoulders to rescue
Yeah.
the team. The number 67.5 across two innings. So it's not a massive number. We looked at
No.
Marnus in the same aspect that we thought that number was quite low with two goes at batting, but it's the added pressure here on Root that makes this number quite attractive.
Yeah, and he just hasn't been in form. The difference between those two bets here and us picking the under for Root is that it's not just the pressure, it's his form. He's been out of form. He hasn't hit any big scores recently leading up to this tour, and then he did a horrendous job in both innings for England in the first test. And now, like we said, it's all about the bowlers in this one and the swing of the ball, and he's going to struggle.
Final one, Australia's opening partnership to go over 24.5 runs. This one, I felt it's a little bit of recency bias that the number's so low because of the duck that Weatherald had in the first test in the first innings. But Head came out in the second innings for Khawaja, had a good run, and Weatherald got, 24? So that an opening partnership of 75 or thereabouts. Yeah. And you wouldn't expect the same type of quickness of wickets falling in the second test in Brisbane, considering what the first test was.
Yeah, but I think a lot's going to depend a little bit on the toss and who wins and who's going to start that first innings. But I think we saw the opening wickets. There was a little bit of pressure on Australia in that first innings at bat, and with Khawaja, just that whole surprise of him not being able to bat. Then we saw what happened in the second innings. Obviously, it was Head's huge innings, but Weatherall was still in there, so did what he had to do. And at 24.5, I think we're pretty safe here because that second innings is going to do Weatherall the world of confidence. And I think it's a pretty good bet because that number is so low.
Rightio. Let's wrap it all up. Again, the full game preview you find over at bets.com.au. We're going to put the link in the description for Adam's game preview as well as this betting preview. But quick recap of the 4 plays, Jess. So our viewers, listeners can get on. What do we got?
Yeah, simple. Mitch Starc to take over 5.5 wickets. We're on Marnus to be in good form once again for the Australians and score over 65.5 total match runs. We're booting Root once again, and he's hitting his under on 67.5 total match runs. And then we're backing in the Aussies opening partnership to be over 24.5 runs.
Leaning straight into the pink ball numbers, home ground advantage for the Aussies, and a bit of market overcorrection from Perth. That's it from us at bets.com.au. Good luck, Australia, in the second test, and enjoy the cricket.